How's it going, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about the order process on the Chevrolet Bolt, the Bolt EV and the Bolt EUV. Like the EUV that's right behind me, this is actually my personal car. If you are new to the channel, my name is Dave B. I do sell Chevrolets at Schumacher Chevrolet of Livingston. I started in the business selling Chevrolets in 2004. Love the job, love the product, and you're gonna learn a lot about it on this channel. You'll also experience some videos about dealership life where I kind of just show you what it's like to be a car salesman. So if that interests you, please hit the subscribe button. I truly appreciate it. And I got like 3 years worth of content, so you can go back and watch things that I made in the past and also see what auto sales was like pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and now after pandemic. It's pretty cool to see it all laid out and how the business has changed over the last 3 years. But anyway, today we're talking about the Chevrolet Bolt. Okay, so let's say you decided you want to look at an electric car. The Chevrolet Bolt is something that interests you. You can start the process right at home, meaning you can go to Chevy.com and you can check out the Bolt, the information on the vehicle. Obviously, you can learn all about it there, and you can also go on to the build and buy section of the website. Now, when you go on the build and buy section, you click on build and buy 2023. You can pick your Bolt of which one you want, whether it be an LT, a Redline, a Premier. Then you would choose the color of the vehicle you want. You can specify different wheels depending on the package you choose. You can go into the different interior options that may be available, whether it be cloth or leather, and the different colors that are offered. And then you go into the packages you can choose, and you can add in, again, you can build up the car exactly how you would want. Now, once you build that car, you can't technically buy it through the website. You still have to choose a dealer to go through. When you choose that dealer to go through, it's actually going to come to a store like ours and the salesman like myself, at which point we would contact you to complete that process. Two things I will point out: when you build and price, you do get a design code. And with the design code, you can save that, you can screenshot it, whatever you want, you can bring it to a dealer. If we put that design code in, it's gonna bring up the specs that you built. So it's a very easy way for us to access the exact equipment you want. The other thing you're gonna notice is it will give you like vehicles in your area based on the zip code you put in. Now, I caution you with this right now. In the current market, these cars are very hard to come by. Most of them are sold factory orders or sold as inbound units. So a lot of times when you see these vehicles that are in transit, they could be spoken for already. So again, you'll have to contact the dealer that has it and find that out. But at that point, you built the car you want, you got your design code, you're ready to take the next step forward. Maybe you want to test drive one and you want to visit a local dealer. That's when you would come to someone like myself who can answer questions and demo a vehicle. I'm very fortunate that I actually own one. We have another salesperson here, Eddie, who also owns one. So we always have a car here that we can show someone. And actually right now we have my pre-owned 2019 Chevrolet Bolt on the used car lot, which is great for test drives. So we have one you can test drive to kind of feel out the powertrain and see what you think. Now, once you go over the vehicle and you decide, yes, I'm ready to go, I want to put a deposit down, I want to order one of these vehicles, this process could be different dealership to dealership because dealerships are going to have their own pricing, they're going to have their own rules of what they require. To give you an example, here in New Jersey, if you're buying a Chevrolet Bolt from us, we are at MSRP. You would also qualify at the moment for the New Jersey Charge Up $4,000 incentive. Now that's good until the money runs out. What we do is we apply for that incentive at the time you order your vehicle. We're hoping that means that New Jersey's taking that money and putting it on the side. This way, when your car shows up, the money's there. So that's something that we'll find out as time moves on. But what we would do is we would take a deposit, we would write up a retail order, we collect insurance card, driver's license, credit app, anything that we would need for the deal to build a file. That file then goes into a locked office where it stays safe until your car is built. Now we have to do the not so fun part, which is we have to wait. And this is where I really wanted to get a little particular with the video to kind of give you some insight about how it's happening here and maybe some questions you could ask your dealer to get a better idea of timing. This will also not just apply to the Chevrolet Bolt. Any Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, or Cadillac dealer or any vehicle you order from General Motors basically follows the same protocols here. So this can help you if you're not ordering a Bolt, but you're ordering something else. For the next part of this video, we're gonna go to the good old whiteboard, right? So I already have some categories outlined on here, which are pretty important, and it's the different stages of the order process. This is important because right now, orders are taking some time. If somebody comes to me and orders a 2023 Bolt EUV, I'm telling them right now, currently at our dealership, it's gonna take about 6 months for that car to come in based on our best estimates. Now, our estimates are based on a couple of things. How many outstanding orders we currently have in line that would be in front of your order, how many allocations we've been receiving from General Motors orders on a weekly basis and sort of the production rate of how fast they're building those allocations. So using those 3 parameters, we can kind of come to a good estimation that it's going to take about 6 months. Now, we hope that production gets ramped up. We hope that allocations become more readily available and we can build as many of these as we want, because here in northern New Jersey where I'm located, they're pretty popular. There's a lot of people looking for this car, and it shows because we have a lot of outstanding orders. Now, when we talk about outstanding orders, that's where this first preliminary tab is gonna come into play. Now, just imagine this is like our computer system, right? These are the tabs that we see. So as we sell cars, we put them in order as we receive them into the computer system with General Motors, with the equipment you set up, with your name, your address, your phone number, all your information, and it's marked as a retail sold unit. Now, we do the same thing with retail stock units. So if we didn't have anything on factory order, we can submit for vehicles that we want to have in stock. But in this case, so many things are factory ordered and we're completely sold out that it's going to obviously be a retail sold order. And we're going to line these orders up in the order that they're received based on your builds and what you want in your vehicle. Now, the reason this is important is this is where you are on the list, right? So if you're number 5 on the list, you have 4 orders in front of yours. And it all comes down to how many allocations a dealership gets to how many vehicles that are in preliminary status that they can submit to General Motors, where GM will pull and accept that order, at which point it would move over to the side that says placed. We get our allocations every Thursday. So like this past Thursday, just a couple of days ago, we did not get any Bolts that we can build, right? So we only got 3 vehicles actually. We got one 2500 Silverado, one Suburban, and one Tahoe. Those were the only 3 vehicles that we actually could submit one order for each of those to General Motors for that particular week. And then we have to wait till next Thursday. So sometimes we'll get none, sometimes we'll get 1, sometimes we might get 5 or 6. I don't know why or for what reasons any of that takes place, but that's just the way I see it. So let's say your order got pulled and it passed the build, meaning there were no constraints. Like for instance, let's say you're ordering a Bolt EUV Premier and you want a sunroof, but right now sunroofs are on constraint and you can't get one. Well, you either have to build your car without a sunroof, or you're gonna say, you know what, I'll wait, and you're gonna pass it and we're gonna go to number 2. And we're gonna see what number 2's build is, and if number 2's passes, then theirs would get placed. So you can move up and down on this list based on the options you want and the constraints or the current availability for the options that are actually there. So let's just say number 1 got placed. We're gonna move it over to this section, and now we're just gonna wait until it gets put in GM's system, which is where we would normally get a target production week, a TPW. Now, it's also very important that once this vehicle is placed, it cannot be changed. That order will remain exactly as it is. So what we do here is when we get that allocation on a Thursday, we'll call our customer up and we'll say, listen, this is the build you submitted. Do you want to keep it the same, or do you want to make any last minute changes? And we usually have until like Saturday to get that in the system to make any corrections while it's here before it gets put and GM puts it in the placed status. Again, once it's here, cannot be changed. And then relatively quickly, it'll usually move right here into in system. Let me make a better circle there. In system, where now you're scheduled to be built. We will eventually get a target production week, a TPW, which is going to tell us the estimated week of when your vehicle will be built. Now, that is also a great spot for us to estimate, again, timing. Like for instance, today is Saturday, October 22nd. Let's say this vehicle is gonna be built the week of 11/14/22. That means, for the most part, if we get any further allocations, they're most likely gonna be built after that day as well. So that kind of gauges our timing. So for instance, again, if today's October 22nd, this isn't gonna get built for about 3 weeks, we can add that in our mind as far as the time it would take to wait. Now, if it is actually built that week, usually towards the end of the week or early the next week, we will get a VIN number. So we'll be able to actually know what the VIN is for your vehicle. It also, at that point, will wait in this in-system status until it moves over to in-transit, which means the shipping process has begun. It's also at that point that we can usually track the vehicle. So we have a software system that GM has devised in the last like year and a half because of all the factory orders, where we can plug a VIN number in and we can actually see where that vehicle is, whether it's at the factory still, whether it moved its way to a rail yard, whether it's on the train, and we can kind of track each day where the train is headed. And we also get a very good estimate because it'll give us an arrival date when they expect it to be at the dealership, which is what I then refer back to my clients and tell them. This way they can plan accordingly and get ready for their brand new vehicle. Obviously, the last stop on our chart here is in stock, which means it actually landed at the dealership and it is physically here on the property. This is it. I mean, this is basically the way it goes. Now, there has been some different things that have kind of slowed processes down. Obviously, with chip shortages and things like that, there have been situations where vehicles get held, they get delayed. As a dealer, personally, as a salesman at a dealership, I don't really know why a lot of that stuff, the reasons for a lot of that, I don't get that information. So, I really can't tell you why or how. I just assume it has something to do with supply chain or parts or shipping or something of that nature. I think as a salesperson, the best thing and the most important thing you can do is try to keep in touch with your client as much as you can in the process, just so they know exactly what to expect and when their vehicle will arrive. Like when they ask you questions, hopefully you have the ability as a salesman to see all this stuff where you can answer those questions pretty quickly. I can't speak on behalf of all dealers and how they give access to their employees, but I can say I'm very fortunate here at Schumacher Chevrolet of Livingston, where I can see all this sort of stuff and I can actually get that information to you. And that's basically it. That's the process. It's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. Right now, the timing is a little crazy because of the current state of everything going on in the world. But I will tell you that if you are interested in a Chevrolet Bolt EV or EUV, speaking from someone who's been driving one for the last 4 years, you will love it. It's a great car. All I can do is recommend to go out and drive one, especially if you never drove an electric vehicle before. Go out, drive one, see what you think. And, if you're thinking about it, you're on the fence, I say do it. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up.